Happy New Year, everybody. Of course, 2016 is upon us. And with any new year, it's always normal to kind of go back and reflect on the prior year. And of course, that's exactly what I'm going to do now. 2015, the top 10 movies of the year, my personal favorites of the year. These are the movies which, of course, resonated with me in some way and fashion. I got some independent flicks, some big blockbusters, some middle of the road, Oscar contenders. They're all kind of represented in my personal list. These are the movies that if you guys haven't seen them, I cannot recommend to go see them anymore. Go watch them. Some of these are actually still in theaters. So as you run on the list, mark them down, make it a point to go see them at some point. With that, I welcome you to another episode of The Real Mentor, where my goal, as always, is to enhance your movie watching experience, because that's what a good mentor does. Now, before I get into the top 10, let me name off some of my honorable mentions. These are movies which just missed the cut, and I kind of debated going back and forth, adding them onto the top 10 list or not. There's only so many movies that that I can put on the list. So these will kind of get left out, but it doesn't mean they're not good. These are movies that you definitely watch, and I could have easily, in some way, added them to the list and taken some out. So I'll start off with a couple of the spy movies that got released this year. Some of the good ones anyway. Number one was Mission Impossible 5. I love that movie. Had a great time. Great action flick. Tom Cruise. He's still one of the top movie stars out there. I blew away the fourth one, which I really enjoyed. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, go catch it. It's a lot of fun. And the second one is Kingsman. This one was a huge surprise that came out early in the year. Matthew Vaughn's third major release. Super fun movie with probably the best action sequence in the entire year. Those of you who've seen it, you guys know the one about in the church with the free bird playing in the background. Fantastic scene, but overall a really good fun flick, over the top action, really well made. I highly recommend those two. In the horror genre, probably my favorite horror movie this year, and this was very close to making it to the top 10 list, but just fell short. That's It Follows. It's a great throwback 80s style kind of horror movie, more like 70s style for that matter. The way it's done, the way it's made and directed, the way the film looks. Great imagery, really scary movie. If you haven't seen that, it wasn't a major release, but if you're horror movie fans, It Follows is the one you definitely want to catch. Another one was, of course, The Martian. This one I really had a hard time not adding to the list, but ultimately I don't think it had the rewatchability that I want to see as far as in the list of my personal favorites. Nonetheless, a great movie. Definitely want to catch that one. Straight Outta Compton is another one which I really enjoyed and I had a hard time leaving off the list. Great biopic, of course. NWA is a band, a group that I grew up with, so I'm not to date myself. But really great performance all the way around, great music. The third act falls a little short, which is why I couldn't ultimately have it on the list, but you guys should definitely catch that one when you get a chance. And of course, lastly is probably the biggest surprise of 2015. I never saw this movie coming at all, and that's The Gift by first-time director Joel Edgerton. He primarily does acting, but he wrote and directed this movie with Jason Bateman. Really surprising flick, not at all what I initially thought going into the theater to watch it. Blew me away, big surprise, great ending. Not the typical thriller that you see. It starts off the way, but ends up being something completely different. Very enjoyable, very surprising. It was a small movie, so if you guys didn't catch that, now's your chance to watch it. I think it should be out on video already, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get down to the list. Number 10, I have a movie called Dope. It's another small release movie that did fairly well in theaters, all things considered. Was a great little coming of age story, very unstereotypical like, and how it presented its main characters is not what you think as far as what you imagine this movie should be like. Great time in the end. I think Forrest Whitaker produced this movie. Great performances, young, good actors in this flick. I was blown away by it. I did not expect the movie to be as good as it was. Wildly entertaining, super fun, very thought-provoking as well. And I said, I had a really great time at the end of the movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but that's one you definitely want to catch. And number 9, I got Spotlight. Great ensemble cast, probably the best performances by a cast of any movie I saw this year. Was superbly written, really thought-provoking, intriguing. It's about a story about the journalist who uncovered the molestation on the Catholic priest in the Boston area. Very well made. Got Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, all did bang-up jobs in this movie. Very well directed. This is going to win a couple Oscars, at least if not for just writing for screenplay, but made for best motion picture, period. It doesn't have the entertainment value, the rewatchability that I like to have in a movie, which will put it at a higher place. But it's that notwithstanding, it's good enough to be on this list. This is a movie you guys should definitely watch. Number 8. Now, number 8 was a movie which caught me way off guard. I did not expect this movie at all to be as good as it was. A very small movie. It's called Predestination. It actually was released in January of last year anyway. It went straight to video. It was not a major studio release, which really surprised me because this movie is one of the best written movies I've seen all year. I turned this movie on to a couple of my friends and they've actually loved it. I loved it myself. Didn't expect what I got out of this movie. So it's a basic premise of a time travel movie, a guy who goes back in time and tries to make things right what once went wrong. Not a unique premise, but it's uniquely told and actually becomes something that you did not really see coming. And it's got about 2 or 3 twists in it. Some of them were predictable, one wasn't. So this is a movie I highly recommend you guys watch. Again, no one's heard of this movie. It's called, again, Predestination. Ethan Hawke was a stand-up performance in this. One I can't recommend highly enough, and I was really surprised about how good this movie is. I absolutely loved this movie. Number 7, we have The Hateful Eight. I just got this movie under the new year, so I wasn't able to do a review on it. Holidays are very busy for me, but it's Tarantino's newest flick. Great cast with Samuel Jackson. I thought maybe the best performance that Tarantino has gotten out of him since Pulp Fiction. Kurt Russell's great. We have Walter Goggins, who I thought really stole the show. Wonderful cast. This movie is typical Tarantino. If you're a Tarantino fan, it's a must watch. It's right in line with Django. Not quite as good as Django or Inglourious Basterds. It was his last 2 releases, but still a worthy effort. Fantastic dialogue, wonderfully shot. Interesting premise, great characters. It is a little overlong, as most Tarantino movies usually are. But, could have cut a couple of scenes here and there from really making it a perfect movie. But it's a great, superly, wildly entertaining flick. It's a long movie, before one, because one is still on theaters. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, it just got released this past weekend. So definitely go out there and make it a point to see that. Number 6, we got Mad Max. Now, this was obviously the new Mad Max movie by George Miller, who directed the original couple of Mad Maxes, Mad Max and The Road Warrior. This movie is fantastic. One of the best action movies, maybe the best action movie of the year. This movie made higher on a lot of people's lists. Only 6 for me, only because this falls short in terms of the story, but viscerally, it's phenomenal. It looks fantastic. The stunt work is top notch. A lot of practical effects. There's very little CGI in the movie. Action packed. You've been in the edge of your seat the whole time. It's one big 2-hour chase scene, basically what it is. Again, I would have put it higher, but this movie is almost like, for me, was like having a really hot girlfriend with nothing upstairs. It's great for a while and it looks fantastic, but I would like to have a little bit more when it comes to my women. It's great to have someone who's hot, but I need something more upstairs, and that's what Mad Max kind of let me down. They didn't have much upstairs at all, so which was why it's 6. But having all said that, if you guys haven't seen it, you guys love action flicks, this is the one you want to see. Now, top 5, here we go. At number 5, I have Creed. Creed, I absolutely love this movie. I never expected to like it as much as I did. Of course, it's the retelling of the Rocky movies, except focusing on Apollo's Creed's son. Stallone delivers an Oscar-worthy performance on a supporting role, guarantee you guys. Ryan Coogler, the director, there's a name you're going to see more and more. He did a fantastic job in, I think, his 2nd film. If you're a Rocky fan, I guarantee you're going to absolutely love this movie. It's a real feel-good movie. You don't have to even know the Rocky series to be honest with you, to really enjoy this movie. So having said this, one I highly recommend everyone out there to go watch. Number 4 was a movie which I had a number 1 for a long time until recently, and that's Inside Out. Of course, Pixar's latest movie. This movie is fantastic, absolutely brilliant. I love how it's written, the concepts that they use to kind of explain how memory works and the functions in the brain, all that, and the connections it makes. I thought were fantastic, spot on. I really struggled not even putting this higher than what it did. Ultimately, I thought it falls forward is actually a good place for it. Great movie for the family, great movie. Even if you don't have kids, this movie is probably more enjoyable as an adult than it is as a kid, to be honest with you. I love how the story is told. It's gonna run you through the gamut of the emotions. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, no doubt about it. You're gonna be smiling and kind of thinking back as far as you were a kid and some experiences that the main girl goes through this movie. Some of you have been through that and can really relate to that character. And most young kids can. Definitely want to highly recommend you go watch. And number 3, we have Ex Machina. It's a movie which I probably could have rated higher. Absolutely fascinating movie. It's the simple premise about artificial intelligence and all that, but it's told so uniquely with a fantastic ending, very well paced. It's slow, it's methodical, and has 3 characters in the movie itself, headlined by Oscar Isaac, who you see now in Star Wars, and then who'll be Apocalypse in the next X-Men movie. But this movie is so well done, so well put together, so thought-provoking. It makes you think in the end, and it has such a really, for myself, a great ending. Nothing typical that you see in Hollywood, which elevated the movie to another level, in my personal opinion. This is a movie you guys definitely have to watch. It's definitely out on video. I think even Amazon, Amazon Prime has it for free. So those of you have Prime, go watch it now. And number 2, of course, and so I'm surprised I didn't have it higher at number 1, but I had to stay somewhat objective. Everyone knows I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so yes, The Force Awakens is at number 2. This movie I absolutely love. It's a great, great Star Wars flick, especially with the expectations that it had on its shoulders to deliver something to the fans, and it did that. It's not the greatest movie out there. It has its issues, no doubt about it, and it may not even be better than some movies I've already mentioned in the list. However, it's Star Wars, and for the pressure they had to deliver something, and it did, just by that alone, I have to put it where it's at. But it's so much fun, great fun, great action. J.J. Abrams did a really, really good job. Again, not a perfect film, but a really good Star Wars movie. And if a Star Wars movie is good, it deserves to be at the top of the list. That's just me. Number 1 is a movie which I never even considered, even going in to watch it, whatever considers this movie to be my favorite movie of the year, but it's Room. This movie is fantastic. I absolutely love this movie. It's the one that really resonated with me the most the entire year. Great cast. The performances are outstanding. Already a couple of nominations in the Golden Globes and some of the SAG awards and all that. Well deserved, and there will be some Oscars as far as performances are concerned. Adapted from the book of the same name. I read the book recently. It was great book. If you guys need to pick something up, this movie just hits home. It runs to the emotional gambit. You'll cry, you'll laugh, you'll cheer. I promise you that. So well made, so well put together. And for me, like I said, it really hit home with me. And again, it may not have the rewatchability as some of the movies I mentioned before, but it's just that good. For me, it's that good. Again, it may not be the best movie of the year, don't get me wrong, but it's just my personal favorite list. But be that as an amazing movie, I definitely highly recommend you guys watch. As soon as it comes out in video, you're gonna hear about it a lot during the Oscar season and a lot of these award shows. It is getting recognized in all these shows, so that tells you something about how good this movie is. Again, it may not be as good as Spotlight, it may not be as fun as Star Wars, Mad Max, what have you, but again, this is my list, so I put who I wanted to put it ultimately. But they want to recognize a movie like this and what it was able to achieve. And again, I did not expect this movie to be as good as it was, and it's a huge surprise. Which is why my favorite movie of the year. So I just want that you guys, I tell you again, definitely go watch it. So there it is, my top 10 of the year. Of course, my honorable mentions before. About 15, 16 movies that I talked about. Guys, watch them, I promise you. As always, follow me at The Real Mentor on Twitter and subscribe below and feed my need to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next year. Have a good 2016.